What's going on, everyone? Bran here from Bloody Breakdown, and today, as is tradition, with the release of Evil Dead Rise, it is now time to re-rank the Evil Dead franchise. Join me. So, as always, before we get into this, folks, just my opinion. I'm sure most of you will know this, that there'll be some people out there that'll come in here and tell me how wrong I am. Hey, that's fine. We all have our opinions. But just to reiterate, as I always do, just my opinion. Obviously nothing official, but I do enjoy ranking these franchises, and every time we get a new entry in said franchises, I just think it's cool to kind of not only place the new entry somewhere, but see if maybe my mind has changed on the rankings of the series thus far. So, same as last time, I'm not going to be doing the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series. Big fan of that show, but I am just going to keep it to the films here. So that said, let's go ahead, jump right in. Out of 5, coming in at number 5, and I just want to reiterate this. I've said it before, not in this video, but I've said it before. Evil Dead is one of those franchises, much like Scream in my estimation. There are no bad entries, not a single bad installment in my opinion. So even though this film is coming in at dead last, at number 5, I still absolutely adore this film. We're talking about the 2013 reboot of the Evil Dead franchise, simply entitled Evil Dead. Now this one, it's a gore fest, which for me, I absolutely love it. I thought that it being the first film not to have Ash, I mean, with the exception of that like 5-second cameo post-credit scene, did an incredible job of holding its own, making it its own thing. Because this is something you have a lot. Anytime your final guy or gal depart from the series, it is a little bit different. You know, Halloween 3, no Laurie, no Michael, really. The newest Scream with no Sydney. It's always a little different. It's always a recalibration, a readjustment. And I think this film pulled it off immaculately. It's one of those things I went into thinking, man, I really don't know if I'm going to like this movie without the character of Ash Williams, but I 100% did. It's a gore fest. It's got some really cool themes in it. Even though a lot of the characters are unlikable, I still think that the performances in this film are really enjoyable. So like I said, unfortunate that one of these films has to go in dead last. It sucks because I really do enjoy this movie. But coming in at number 5 here is indeed the 2013 reboot, Evil Dead. So coming in at number 4, Army of Darkness. And I know there's probably a lot of loyalists out there that are going to be a little upset at hearing me put this so low. And don't get me wrong, I love the camp comedy in Evil Dead films. This isn't something where I'm going to put all the comedy heavy Evil Dead movies toward the bottom. But this one for me, like I said, I enjoy every single one of them. I just am not a huge fan of the time travel aspect of this one. I think that's really one of the only things I'm not too keen on. Of course, I love the character of Ash Williams. I think this movie's a riot. It's got some really cool, characters that are made practically in this film. At the end of the day, it's a really fun time, and I do enjoy it. But I think if you're ranking these things, there are definitely some entries that are way more deserving being in the top of this list. As this being number 4, we get into the top 3 after this. So yeah, it's a funny movie. It's kind of Ash at almost his ashiest, I guess would be the way to put that. But for me, it's not my favorite Bruce Campbell performance as Ash Williams. It is maybe my least favorite, but once again, that's not saying a whole lot when every single one of these films checks every box for me as far as what I think it should be, and as how entertaining it is. So before I piss anybody else off, let's go ahead and keep this train rolling. As I say that, I feel as if I'm going to piss some people off with this one. Coming in at number 3 is the brand new addition to the Evil Dead franchise, that just came out just a couple of weeks back. I'm talking about Evil Dead Rise. And the reason I really enjoyed this one as much as I did is I felt like it took what they were doing with the 2013 reboot and took it to a whole new level. I felt like it was a better way to achieve the different location other than the cabin in the woods than Army of Darkness did. Maybe that was a little too out there, in my opinion. But utilizing the New York high-rise type feel, apartment building, the way that they were able to take a location that should feel a little bit more safe than, say, a cabin in the woods and turn it into something that is most definitely not. The way they were able to utilize what we had kind of seen, how we'd seen the Deadites utilize nature. Now we're seeing the Deadites utilize, modern technology and things of that. So I just really love the twist on it. I absolutely adore Alyssa Sutherland's performance in this film as the main Deadite. And I mean, at the end of the day, who's not a fan of Linguini, right? The cheese grater scene, and just kind of falls into what I was saying about the 2013 reboot. This one's got it as well. Very gory, and is able to pull off an Evil Dead film without the character of Ash Williams and do it in a very entertaining and just a really awesome way, I think. I think we all go into these movies thinking, it's not going to be the same. And some of us kind of go in there thinking that and have that negative connotation in our brains and never get rid of it because we're looking for what we want to see instead of what the movie is. And a lot of times, if you don't appreciate what a movie is, you really miss out on some great entertainment. So there it is, coming in at number 3. It may be the newest, but I think it's a damn fine entry. Evil Dead Rise. So now, coming in at number 2, we're getting to the top 2. And if you're doing your math at home, all we have left is Evil Dead, the original, and Evil Dead 2. So, let's see what happens. Does the original remain in the top spot, as we've often seen here on this channel? Completely coincidental. But will it be? What's number 2? The original, The Evil Dead. Now, it goes without saying, this thing is a goddamn classic. I don't think anyone's going to argue that, at least, not horror fans. Absolutely love this movie. I have nothing bad to say about it. It was one of those, Evil Dead was a little different at the beginning. It was a whole lot less leaning on the comedic aspect and a whole lot more on the gore, which they definitely kept that over the years. But it's a classic film, and though it may lack a lot of the, stuff we come to love of the franchise in that Bruce Campbell era of, the camp and the comedy and things of that nature, although that may not be there, I'll tell you, this movie has some very, very creepy visuals. The Deadite in the fruit cellar peeking up, very creepy visuals in this thing. And for me, some of the visuals in this movie are some of the things that work the absolute best. It's just, like I said, I can't say enough good things about it. I think everybody knows I love this film. And I think most of the people who come and peruse my channel are probably fans of this thing as well. And it sucks that it had to come in at number 2. There's a reason for that. And that's because number 1 is my absolute favorite Evil Dead film in the entire series. And speaking of my favorite film in the entire series, of course, now we know my number 1 pick, top of the food chain, as it were, for the Evil Dead franchise, in my opinion, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. I think this one is the perfect combination, the perfect amalgamation of the brutality, the gore, with the slapstick comedy, with the camp. This, in my opinion, is just the culmination of everything I think this franchise is and could be, rolled into one incredible film. I absolutely adore this thing. I can't say enough good things about it, even more so than the first one, in my opinion. This Evil Dead film is the one that if I'm going to sit down and watch any of them at any given time, if I just want to watch an Evil Dead flick, and I've only got time enough to watch one, We don't have marathon time here or anything. Just pick one. I'm going with this one. More than likely each and every time. Absolutely love it. And yeah, that is why it has been, and at least as far as I know, will continue to be number one in my Evil Dead franchise ranking. So, with that said, it's everyone else's turn. I want to know what you all think. Drop comments down below. Let me know your ranking for the Evil Dead franchise. Let me know if you agree or disagree with mine. I enjoyed the conversation. Also, check the description section. There's a couple of links there to follow me on Twitter, support the channel, which would be great considering I'm doing content for all of you. Sick as fuck right now. Look at me. Yeah. That's me patting myself on the back because I'm awesome. And yeah, other than that, typical YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, notifications, you fine guys and gals know the drill here. So yeah, with that said, I'm Bran from Bloody Breakdown, and this has been my Bloody Breakdown on the Evil Dead franchise.